Hello, hello, hello. Anybody out there today? I'm actually live, but I'm not going to keep my face here. I'm just going to kind of go off camera, but I am going to read chapter 7 of The Greatest Miracle in the World by Mandino, read by LisaMarie. So, hope you enjoy. And if you are here, thank you so much for spending a couple of minutes with me. Okay. The thick brown manila envelope rested ominously on my desk on that Monday that I shall never forget. I had been away again on what I had been assured would be the final promotional tour for my book. This jaunt had consumed 2 weeks, 12 flights, 10 cities, 10 strange hotel beds, 10 early wake up calls, in the same endless series of questions and answers from New Orleans to Monterey. I arrived at the office early, hoping to get an hour's jump on what I expected would be an overwhelming in basket. Excuse me. The smell of freshly brewed coffee permeated the place. Only Vi Norman Zach, who had been coming in early forever, had arrived ahead of me. I picked up the brown envelope and stared at the gentle European script on its front with a combination of horror and panic. In the upper left-hand corner, where one normally puts a return address, were the words, "A farewell gift from an old rag picker." In the center of the envelope was my name and my business address. In the upper right hand corner, stamps had been affixed, $1.20 worth. They were uncanceled. There was no postmark. I dropped the package and dashed out of the office. Just as I threw open the door leading to the hall, Pat walked in. Her welcome back smile vanished when she saw the look on my face. "What's the matter?" I grabbed her by her arm and almost pushed her into my office. Then I stopped to pick up the package from where I had dropped it on the carpeting and held it up. "When did we get this?" She looked at the envelope from my hand, read the message, and shrugged her shoulders. "I don't know. All your mail is on the couch. I never seen that before. It wasn't here when I locked up on Friday. Must have come this morning by messenger, maybe." I jerked the phone off its cradle and punched the digits 2-4. Our subscription department. Barbara Voigt, our subscription manager, didn't even get a chance to welcome me back. "Barbara, please ask Vi to come into my office." Vi was soon standing uncomfortably in my doorway. Her pretty shrub-like face registered concern and puzzlement as to why I would want to see her. "Vi, did you open up this morning?" "Yes, I always do." "I know. Did anyone deliver this package to you?" "No." "Did you see any strangers in the hall when you arrived?" "No, no one was around except Charlie, the janitor. I just fixed the coffee like always, waited until the pot filled, poured myself a cup, and went back across the hall." "Why? What's the matter?" "That's okay, Vi. Never mind. Thanks." I tossed the package on my desk, grabbed the top coat, and ran out of the office. The sidewalk was beginning to turn white from Chicago's first winter snow, and I vaguely remember slipping and falling several times as I ran through the parking lot across Winthrop Street into Simon's apartment lobby. I didn't bother to hit the bell and leaped up the stairs 2 at a time. When I reached the second floor landing, I turned and began pounding on the door of Simon's apartment. The door finally flew open, and I was staring at a red-faced, plump woman, her hair in a pin curls, holding a crying infant. Another young and grubby child was clinging tightly to the woman's faded pink nightrobe. Simon must be involved in another rag-picking mission of mercy, I thought. "Mr. Potter, please." "Who?" "Mr. Potter, the old man. He lives here." "Ain't nobody named Potter here." "What are you talking about? He's lived here for years." "Tell him Og Mandino is here." Look, Mac, my name is Johnson. I've lived in this dump for 4 years, and I damn well ought to know there ain't nobody named Potter here. She began to close the door, but I stopped it with my arm and stepped into the apartment. Come on, lady, don't play games with me. I've been in this apartment 100 times in the past year. An old man named Simon Potter lives here. Where is he? Before she could answer, my eyes swept the apartment and I could feel the hair rising on the back of my neck. Nothing was familiar. Our two favorite talk chairs were gone. There were no books piled high along the living room wall. The braided rug had been replaced by an ugly, checkered orange and blue linoleum. The woman, now clutching her child closer to her breast, growled, Mac, I'll give you just 5 seconds to get your ass out of here, and then I'm going to start yelling and call the cops. Who the hell do you think you are breaking into my apartment? You creep, you ought to be in jail or a nut house. Get out of here. I felt weak in the knees. My stomach was flopping. I wanted to vomit. I backed slowly toward the door and raised my hands helplessly. I'm sorry, lady. Maybe I'm in the wrong apartment. Do you know Simon Potter? Old man, dark, very tall, and he has a dog, a basset. There ain't nobody like that in this building. I ought to know. I've been here for 4 years. Next door? That way, a little old lady and her daughter. That way, there, a black man lives all alone. There ain't no guy named Potter here, I tell you. Now scram. I apologized again and stopped out into the hall. The door slammed shut, and I was staring at the red painted numerals with which I had become so familiar, 21. I still felt weak, and so I sat on the stairway trying to collect my thoughts. Where was he? Was I dreaming all of this? If so, what a hell of a nightmare I was having. Any moment, I thought Rod Sterling would walk up the stairs and welcome me into another edition of Night Gallery. Then an idea. I ran down the stairs, past the lobby, down another flight to the basement. At the far end, I could see a light and hear the drone of an oil furnace. A slight shadowy figure was leaning back in a chair under the single fly-specked light bulb. Are you the janitor? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been here long? All night? No, I mean, have you worked here long? Be 11 years in February. Is there a Simon Potter registered as a tenant in this building? Tall man, dark, long hair, beard, looks a lot like Abraham Lincoln, has a dog, a basset. We don't allow dogs in the building. Do you know the man I described? No, sir. Have you ever seen this man I described, either here or outside on the street? No, sir. I know everyone in the building and nearly everyone in the neighborhood. There ain't no such man here, and there ain't been no such man around this block in the past 11 years. I guarantee you that. You're sure? I'm positive. I ran back up the steps across the street to the parking lot and unlocked my car. Eventually, I was at the Foster Avenue police station, although I still don't remember driving there. I parked my car smack between two blue squad cars and ran into the station. I waited impatiently at the wire window until a young sergeant nodded curtly at me. Sergeant, my name is Mandino and I have business over on Broadway. Yes, sir. Someone is missing. I had a friend who lived in an apartment at 6353 Winthrop Street. I've known him for more than a year. I've been away from my office for a couple of weeks, and when I got back this morning, there was a package on my desk and my name and address and some words in the upper left-hand corner to the effect that it was a farewell gift from him. What was the package? I don't know. As soon as I read that farewell message bit, I ran to his apartment and he wasn't there. Furthermore, the people were in his apartment said that he had never lived there and they didn't know anyone like the man I was describing. You're sure you had the right apartment? I've been in it 100 times. Apartment 21. I talked to the janitor of the building. He didn't know anyone by the name of Simon Potter. Said there had never been such a person in the building in the past 11 years that he has worked there. No Simon Potter. Are you all right, sir? Yes, I'm all right. I'm sober. I'm not a nut. Honest. How the hell could I make up this kind of a crazy story? We've heard crazier. I'll bet you have. What was the guy's name again? Potter, Simon Potter. Almost 80 years old, dark, long hair and a beard, tall, had a dog, a basset hound. The sergeant lit a cigarette and studied me closely for several seconds. Then he turned without saying another word and went into the back office. Perhaps 15 minutes passed before he returned. We haven't picked up anyone by that name or answering your friend's description in at least the past 3 weeks in this precinct. But this is a big city. Why don't you go to the Cook County Hospital? Okay. And one other spot. Where? The the county morgue down on West Polk. I struck out at the hospital and then were considerate and patient with me and checked back through their records for the past 14 days. No one with Simon's name or fitting Simon's description had been brought in for any sort of treatment. They also suggested I check with the morgue. I went. There they treated my story casually, as if I were someone filing a complaint in a giant department store. They obviously heard similar stories hourly about missing fathers, sons, brothers, sisters, lovers. Methodically, they checked their microfilm files, and one young man finally came forward holding a small clipboard. Sir, we have one unidentified who fits the age and general description. Want to take a look? I nodded and followed him. As we walked along the brightly lit, white, antiseptic smelling corridor, he touched my arm and said, "Don't let the stench get you. They still haven't invented a deodorant to wipe out these smells." Finally, he pushed open a swinging door and we entered a chilly room with giant drawers sitting in rows like ghoulish file cabinets. He checked the number on his pad and pulled heavily on one of the drawer handles. I turned my head away, not wanting to look. Finally, I forced myself, and I was staring down at the nude body of a very old man, his long hair wrapped around his face and chest, his eyes still half open. My heart was thumping as I leaned forward to have a better look at this poor, unclaimed, nameless human who had fallen on his last junk pile. It wasn't Simon. Finally, I tried missing persons on South State. 0. The snow was still falling as I pulled up to my parking lot. I got out, turned the key, and watched the gate move slowly toward the sky, remembering again that first day in the snow when a strange, beautiful man came into my life and held up the world in his bare hands for me. I stepped back into the car, punched the steering wheel with my fist, shifted, and slammed the car into a parking place. I must have looked terrible. My own staff people turned away from me as if not to notice my presence when I re-entered the office, tracking snow across the red carpet of the reception area. As I passed Pat's desk, I nodded toward my office and she rose and followed me. "Close the door, hon, and have a seat." She frowned and sat facing me. Her eyes were wide with both fear and concern. "My God, Og, what's the matter?" "I think I must be going crazy, Pat. Now listen to me. You live on Winthrop Street, don't you?" "Yes, about a block down." "Every morning when you walk to work, do you cut through the parking lot?" "Yes." "Have you ever seen a strange old man around the parking lot?" "He wears funny old clothes and usually is feeding the pigeons. He has long hair and a beard, and he always has a basset hound with him." Pat thought for a few moments and shook her head. There are usually only a few winos hanging around the lot, but no one like that. You've never seen this man? He's very tall and very old. Sometimes he wears a wooden crucifix around his neck. Never. What's the matter, Og? What's happened? It's okay, hon. I'll tell you later. Thank you. Oh, hold my calls until I tell you. After she closed the door, I just sat there and tried to collect my thoughts, chasing elusive and ephemeral butterflies of irrational images, trying to ignore the pain in my head and in the pit of my stomach. Was I cracking up? Was this how a nervous breakdown climaxes in the frightening inability to connect one rational thoughts with another? Is this what all those executive seminars and books warn will happen if you push your body and mind to their limits and beyond, while trying to compress several lives into one in your mad dash for success? Does the mind finally switch channels on you and force you to participate in a fantasy land of acts and conversations with characters dredged from some long forgotten childhood storybook? Is this the ultimate escape when pressures and responsibilities grow too big to handle? Was Simon a dream? Impossible. Still, if Simon was nearly always around the parking lot each morning, why hadn't Pat ever seen him? And what about his apartment? Was somebody playing some sort of masquerade joke on me? Yet why had I never discussed him with anyone? And what about all his lectures? Those priceless hours of inspiration and knowledge and hope. And how about the rag picker thing? Pulling dropouts from the human race off the junk pile, showing people how to perform the greatest miracle in the world? Dear God, I couldn't have made all that up in my wildest creative moments. I snapped back to some semblance of sanity when I suddenly realized that I had been turning the brown envelope over and over in my hand. The brown envelope, my only link to the truth, my only link to Simon, my proof that he really existed. I found myself rubbing the package as if like some Genli's lamp or genie's lamp. My touch would cause the old man to reappear. I relaxed a little. If he had sent the package, then I wasn't crazy. Simon existed. Simon, Simon, where the hell are you? Don't do this to me. I don't deserve this from you. I must have been close to the edge of shock as I yelled toward 3 empty orange chairs that faced me across my desk. Finally, I turned over the brown envelope, ripped open the flap, reached in and removed several sheets of typewritten paper held together with a paper clip. As I did so, a small object rolled from the envelope onto my desk. I picked it up, a tiny safety pin attached to a small piece of white rag measuring approximately half an inch square. I pushed the pin aside, attached to the paper clip, then held the pages was a letter to me in the same handwriting as the envelope. The letter was undated. Okay, that is the end of chapter 7. If you were here listening, thank you so much. I appreciate you. We will be doing chapter 8. Chapter 9 is the actual God memorandum, which I have already done. And then just chapter 10. And that is it. And if you have missed any of these chapters, head over to YouTube. They are all right there at LisaMarie Cook. Okay, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm out of here.